This Rev3 Games preview is brought to you by Audible. It is my great pleasure to be here with Lucas Pope, the creator of Papers, Please. I'll just happily say this is one of the most incredible game experiences I've had in a very long time. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, well, thank you for interviewing me. It's great.
So I have many impressions having played the game, but I'm curious, what was your goal when you set out to make this game?
My goal. Well, okay, so the idea came from passing through immigration on some trips to Japan, basically. So I see the guy behind the counter working with the papers. I think, well, that's kind of cool. Whatever he's doing back there, he's like checking stuff, and he stamps it crooked and he gives it back to you. I thought that would be a cool core mechanic. And then I started thinking about movies, spy movies like Bourne movies and things like that, where Jason Bourne or the spy is always trying to slip through immigration. And he's the hero. He's getting through immigration. He's like fooling everybody. Wouldn't it be great if you were the one on the other side of that, catching these guys trying to get through? So I thought there was potential for story elements and intrigue and spies and smugglers. So on top of the core mechanics, I felt like there was a cool story to tell with that.
But what seems to come out of it is that the core mechanic is bureaucratic drudgery, and it becomes an almost obsessive type of gameplay.
Yeah, I guess I enjoy that kind of stuff where it's kind of OCD. You're looking for all the discrepancies. You're working with too little space. There's not enough space on your desk, so you've got to shuffle all these papers around. For me, as a designer, that kind of worked well to set the whole thing into bureaucracy, because you've got kind of a fixed progression of complications and rules and things like that. So, when I'm designing the game, I have this big pile of requirements and rules and features and stuff, and it became kind of not easy, but it became mechanical to lay that out in a progression for this story. So,
now, obviously, you said you were inspired by immigration control going through the airports in Japan. I've done that myself, and while it's never a fun experience, it's a little bit on the tame side. But
yeah.
the game itself is put in kind of a fictionalized Soviet, where those those gates were held pretty strong. And so, what was the thinking to put it in what's clearly a far more desperate situation?
I guess just it comes from the narrative. So I needed an interesting narrative, and like you, I've never had any problem going through immigration. It's always been like a total breeze. So there's no like personal inspiration there. But for me, the interesting narrative is when you have this oppressive society, this bureaucracy that you have to fight against it, but you also have to work within it to take care of your family. You have your priorities. So just from a narrative perspective, I thought there's a rich environment here for storytelling.
Well, but then there's also, I guess what I couldn't get over is how quickly I became that bureaucrat. It was about 5 minutes, and even though it's a fictional situation, and you also have the context of your family needing food and electricity and water, like that immediately, it took more prominence in how I played the game, because I knew there were people that I wasn't letting through that probably deserved, and vice versa.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, for me, that's really interesting that you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to do the right thing, but the right thing is not at all clear. You can help the people who are trying to get through, or you can help your family. And that's kind of how I view a lot of things. Like, there's a lot of politics mixed into immigration, but when you get down to the low-level implementation, you find it's not that easy to deal with these issues. So I really wanted to make it. Also, I didn't want to make a statement about what's right or what's wrong, so a lot of this stuff is kind of open-ended or ambiguous. Like, you make decisions based on how you feel, but it's not always clear that you did the right thing. And because there is no right thing. You can say everything is right or everything is wrong. Like, you're really just trying to balance your priorities, and that was a goal for me. Like, to make the game more interesting, to make it more ambiguous and less clear, and that plays into the mechanics too, where the game doesn't explain everything to you, all the core mechanics. It doesn't explain them to you like very clearly in a tutorial or something. You kind of have to figure that stuff out for yourself. So that also carries over in the story where like you help somebody or you need to help somebody, but it's not clear that you should have helped them or that that helping them was the right thing or anything. So, and that's how I view the real job of being an immigration inspector. You look at somebody, you approve them or you deny them, and then they're gone. You never see them again. You don't know what happens. So.
Well, also the graphical interface, it's not high res. It's not going for that kind of look. I'm curious why you went that way. I found it to really underscored kind of like what the spirit of the game was.
Yeah, I basically got lucky there. I picked a very simple style because I'm the only guy working on the game, so I need something that I can implement quickly. The original plan was to make the game in 6 months, so I can't spend a lot of time on 3D assets or resources and stuff like that. So I picked a really simple style with basic colors and flat shades and things like that. And I was trying to push the oppressiveness, so all the colors are muted and things like that, and the faces, are a little bit rough. So I was going there, but really, it's mostly a technical decision. I need to limit the scope of the art.
Well, that was kind of serendipitous, then, because I can't imagine the game looking any other way.
Yeah.
Also, for a game that I found to be borderline terrifying at times, just trying to maintain everything in the way I was making me feel when I was playing it, it has one of the funniest characters in games, which is the old man who just sort of ineptly is trying to get through.
Yeah, it's funny. He was originally in the beta, he was just a story element to explain a mechanic that comes up later, which is basically missing documents or wrong documents. So he's a way to teach the player how to deal with certain situations. And after the beta, I had written a few more days. When I released the beta, it ends at day 8, but I actually had day 9 and 10 also in there and just cut it off. He comes through on day 9, the day after the beta, and he's totally clear, and you never see him again. That's it. He's gone. But he was super popular from the beta, which I didn't expect at all. That's another just serendipitous, lucky as hell. And I decided I would try to incorporate him later for a few more elements. And it ended up he carried through the whole game and actually became a core critical character for the humanizing element of the entire game. Was this one guy who was really just a funny throwaway thing at the beginning. So that worked out well.
So now that you've worked on this game, and I got the sense that you were also prototyping similar ideas for a while.
Yeah.
I think one was also a state-run newspaper.
Yeah.
I was curious, is this a kind of system in a game that you would like to investigate further, or what's next for Lucas Pope?
Yeah. Okay. Immediately next is I need to port this to Linux and I need to localize it. I'm thinking about an iPad tablet version, Android tablet version. For next, it's hard to say. A lot of people have asked me for more story in the same universe. But one of the things I like to do is I like to do something new every time. That's the challenge is what I enjoy. So I haven't decided quite yet what I'm doing next. Honestly.
Well, it's fine because I'm going to go back and keep on playing this game. It's become a point of obsession. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So, do you like this preview coverage and you want to support Rev3 Games? Then why not check out Audible? They have over 100,000 audiobooks and spoken word entertainment to be downloaded to your phone or MP3 player and played back anywhere, anytime. You can go to audiblepodcast.com/Rev3Games to get a free audiobook of your choice when you sign up today.